Growing cyclamen from seed opens up a whole new world to this fascinating group of plants. As we look at a few different species, here is what to expect. Preparing and planting the seeds, caring for the seeds for best germination. If you're going to collect your own seeds, you need to wait until they have ripened. And we have a separate video on that. There's links to that at the end of this video and in the notes below the video. You're going to need some pots, something like this in terracotta if you're doing a large number of seeds, smaller number of seeds. Some of these plastic pots, you don't need really deep pots. These will do nicely. Once you've selected your pots, you'll need a potting mix. And we're using a normal potting mix. It's fairly open, but it's the sort of thing that you've got easy access to. You can mix this with 50% perlite, or you can use 50% perlite and 50% peat moss. The advantage of using the perlite and peat moss is that it's a sterile mix, which means you run less risk of the plants getting diseases. The only problem with all of these additives is that it also adds to the cost. So although you could use this, we're using the straight potting mix that's been sterilised with boiling water. Just pour some boiling water over the potting mix, and before you put your seeds in, you're going to need to let that cool right down. It's a good idea to soak the seeds in some warm water with just a drop of dishwashing liquid for 24 hours before planting them. And this is especially true with seeds that aren't fresh. Soaking the seeds helps speed up germination. The dishwashing liquid is in there to help remove any air bubbles that might surround the seed and stop the water from soaking in. Give it another gentle shake, and we'll leave those seeds in there for 24 hours before we plant them. Once you've soaked the seeds, drain them, and they're ready to plant. Plant tags are important so that you don't forget what you've put in each pot. So that is a number one consideration. Take the seeds and you just go to space them as evenly as you can in the pot. In this pot here, some of the seeds are bigger than others. I've got a feeling that the larger ones are going to have a better germination rate. So you can just see the seeds on the surface of the potting mix. The potting mix is already nice and moist. We're now going to cover them with some of this coarse grit. And the reason for this is that cyclamen seeds actually like to be in the dark. So that will do for our first lot. We'll water those in, we'll sow the rest of the seeds, and then we'll go through the rest of the process. So we've also planted some seeds in this pot here with gravel on the top, and we're covering them up to keep them in the dark. We've done the same thing over here with seeds in a plastic pot, and again we're covering them up because they'll germinate better in the dark. And these are Cyclamen gracum. And in this container here, we're going to put in some Cyclamen hedifolium seeds. And here are our seedlings, round about 3 weeks after we planted them. And you can see they're just starting to germinate. Once they start to germinate, you need to remove that cover so that they get more light. Make sure that you keep them moist, but not too wet. In a few months' time, you'll see them starting to form their proper leaves like these. And these plants need to stay in this pot for 2 years. So that's 2 growing seasons. By that time, the tubers will be large enough to transplant either up into another pot or into the garden. As for cyclamen varieties, here's a list of all of the species that we know about and when they flower. So as you can see, you can have one of these wonderful flowering plants for all seasons. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on growing a whole range of plants. We'll be back with a specialist video on plant propagation. And as always, good luck with your gardening.